From United Nations Television, this is UN in Action.
8 years after the fall of the Taliban, targeted violence against women in Afghanistan is back at an alarming level. Women of all ages are enduring brutal physical and sexual abuse in their own homes.
He tried to kill me with electric shock. My brother is his brother-in-law, and they are all in this together.
A few lucky ones find their way to one of only 6 shelters in the country. Sosan, who at age 35 has 7 children, is one of them. Sosan's husband and his family tried to kill her more than once because they suspected that she was having an affair. The United Nations says over 87% of all Afghan women suffer from domestic abuse, making Afghanistan one of the most dangerous places in the world to be a woman.
They injected me with poison, and I had such reaction that my hands were numb and I nearly died. There are police reports of all of this. They brought the mullah to say prayers for my passing away, and they even obtained my death certificate.
Sosan's ex-husband admits that he, his brother, and their 15-year-old son tried to electrocute her.
I tortured her with my son.
Sosan escaped with her 3 youngest children and came to the shelter. Weni Kasuma from the UN Development Fund for Women, UNIFEM, in Afghanistan.
What we see in the last year especially is a rise in the return of public acceptance of violence against women to the degree where it was under the Taliban.
What is different now is that women and their families are starting to speak out about domestic violence.
Even though my husband divorced me, my brothers were going to kill me for being divorced, for soiling their name and their honor. If this place weren't here, where would we have gone?
Soraya Pagzad, the executive director of the Voice of Women organization, recognized the need for a safe haven in her hometown of Herat a few years ago.
Girls, women ran away from domestic violence, ran away from forced and child marriages, or came to the shelter.
Hers is one of 6 UNIFEM-supported shelters in Afghanistan. Here, women like Sosan learn skills such as sewing and weaving. They're also given the opportunity to learn to read and write. Now Sosan is divorced, but she says her husband owes her money. Sosan bought the land they lived on from her own father with the money she earned working as a seamstress. Kusuma says it's a sign of progress that even a few shelters for battered women have opened in recent years, but it still takes a lot of courage to run one. Shelters like this one are criticized as anti-Islamic because disputes in the traditional Afghan society are mediated within the family with the help of tribal elders. It is taboo for women to seek justice outside. As much as the shelter wants women to return to their parents or male members of their families, Sosan won't consider going back. Since living without a man is not acceptable in Afghan society, it has been suggested that Sosan should reconcile and live together with her oldest son, the same son who took part in the attempt to kill her. Because Sosan refuses to return to her son or her husband, she's losing custody of her 7-year-old boy. He's forced to go live with his father as mandated by Afghan tradition.
His father is cruel, violent, and unloving. So he kept crying, "God help me, I won't go and live with my father."
As a result of the shelter's mediation, Sosan received the equivalent of $10,000 US for the disputed land. But since her father disowned her and with no other family member to live with, she can't use the money to rent a house and live with her 2 young daughters. Since filming this story, Sosan has married another man, but her leaving the shelter comes at a terrible price. She was forced to give up her daughters. They now live with her ex-husband. This report was prepared by Sasha Gorishek for the United Nations.